Thank you po. I have the greatest respect for Secretary Amena Pangandaman. I have worked very closely with her. I have always seen her as the best economist I've worked with. Of course, aside from Sec RC, because I also love Sec RC. I have the highest respect for her, not only for Secretary Pangandaman, but for all of the officials in DBM. Sa totoo lang po, para po sa kalaman ng lahat, ito pong usapin tungkol sa unprogrammed appropriations, lalo na po nung naging mainit na usapin po ito sa social media at sa iba pa, talaga pong nag-uusap kami na paano ba natin pwedeng ayusin itong unprogrammed appropriations, paano po natin masisigurado na hindi ito aabuso sa taong 2026. And honestly, when we were doing all of those discussions, and even during the plenary deliberations, when members of the minority would have specific suggestions, particularly towards lump sum funds, UA, even in terms of the general provisions, makikita ko po and I say this with the utmost sincerity, kitang-kita ko po sa parte ng DBM na pag may na-recognize sila na point, na uy, okay yan tama yan. Sila pa yung unang magsasabi na, sige, Chair Mika, go, okay kami dyan sa amendment na yan. Isa pong halimbawa, yung sa GIP, yung nung ilang beses po na bring up yon sa deliberation, sila pa yung una nagsabi na, Chair, okay kami dyan. Kung tatanggalin talaga yung infrastructure mula sa GIP, sige, okay kami. Sila pa nga po yung nag-draft nung version ng special provision patungkol doon. So, I understand that there are instances or things that have transpired that may have called into question the safeguards, the evaluation, the assessment processes and guidelines within the DBM. But I really see the sincerity in the good men and women of DBM to continually improve their processes. Ang dami din po nila na ina-advocate ng mga transparency measures, yung open budget, yung Project Dime, they have a lot of transparency measures as well. So, even with the recognition that there might have been instances in the past wherein certain guidelines would need to be reinforced or amended, nakikita ko po yung sinseridad sa ating mga kasama sa DBM na talagang gusto talaga nilang ayusin yung proseso.
So, ibig sabihin ma'am, parang naayos na rin nila yung instances na yun kasi may binabanggit na parang may huge sums of money raw po na nag-disappear from the DPWH.
In the good men and women of DBM to continually improve their processes. Ang dami din po nila na ina-advocate ng mga transparency measures, yung open budget, yung Project Dime, they have a lot of transparency measures as well. So, even with the recognition that there might have been instances in the past wherein certain guidelines would need to be reinforced or amended, nakikita ko po yung sinseridad sa ating mga kasama sa DBM na talagang gusto talaga nilang ayusin yung proseso.
So, ibig sabihin ma'am, parang naayos na rin nila yung instances na yun kasi may binabanggit na parang may huge sums of money raw po na nag-disappear from the DPWH appropriations. Yun po yung ipinunto ng minority of lawmaker, in particular si Congressman Erice po. Tapos ang binabanggit din po kasi niya, parang may may influence daw from powerful legislators daw po kasi kaya parang siguro na-influensyahan daw po yung DBM.
I would be very happy to discuss with Senior Deputy Minority Leader Erice with regard to that. I would be keen to know ano po yung particular na ehemplo na kanyang iniisip doon sa nawawalang pondo mula sa DPWH. Alam ko po ang isa sa mga natalakay yung malaki na nabatak mula sa dating sagip na flood control projects. But I would be very keen to know. Medyo mahirap po kasing sagutin nang hindi ko po alam yung particular na programa na tinutukoy po ni SDML Erice. But I'd be very happy to discuss with him po. Again, in 2026, I would be very adamant na kung ano man po yung mga nakaligtaan na mga guidelines o safeguards sa nakaraan, aayusin po natin yon. Paiigtingin po natin yon para sa 2026 para masigurado po na hindi maaabuso yung pondo para sa susunod na taon.
Super last na lang po. So, Secretary Pangandaman should stay.
For me po, yes. I see the hard work that she puts in, her integrity, and her love for her work. So yes, I firmly believe that Secretary Amena Pangandaman should stay. Thank you po.
We're down to the last 3 questions. The first comes from Rosalie Cos of UNTV.
Hi Kong, good afternoon po.
Hi, Ma'am
Binawasan po yung pondo ng Office of the Vice President for 2026. Anong mangyayari po sa binawas na pondo? Saan po yun mapupunta?
Opo, yung kabuuan po ng na kaltas sa Office of the Vice President ay inilipat po sa MAIFIP. So 156 million po yun sa kabuuan. Kasi po yung ilan po sa mga particular na programa na atin pong kinaltasan, kung naaalala nyo po, tinitignan po natin yung financial assistance and subsidy. Kasi po ang ating pong napag-usapan ay dapat po nasa ahensya po yun. Nasa ahensya. The budget for financial assistance and should be lodged in the different agencies like DSWD, DOH, or DOLE. So, yun po yung ginawa natin. Binatak po natin yun at lahat po yun napunta po sa MAIFIP. Pero tulad po nung kondisyon na akin pong ibinigay, nung atin pong inaprubahan yung motion ni Congresswoman De Lima na ibalik po yung level ng Office of the Vice President sa level ng 2025, may dalawa po akong kondisyon na inilatag doon. Una, kailangan po maprotektahan yung interes ng mga personnel sa loob po ng Office of the Vice President. So, malaki po kasing parte noong increase sa OVP budget na pinanukala ng DBM ay patungkol po sa Salary Standardization Law, yung pagtaas po ng kanilang sahod. So, yun po, prinotektahan po natin yon. So, yung increase na pinanukala ng DBM para sa sahod ng mga OVP employees, retain po natin yon sa third reading version ng GAB. Pangalawa po na kondisyon ko na kailangan po yung kung makakaltasan man ang OVP, kailangan po yung pondo na matitira sa Office of the Vice President ay sapat para maipagpatuloy nila na magampanan ang mandato ng opisina. And with that po, even with the reduction, tumaas pa rin po yung kanilang supplies expense, tumaas pa rin po yung kanilang rent expense, yung operational expenses nila, tumaas pa rin po. So even if the overall total was reduced by 150 million pesos to return the level to the 2025 levels, tumaas pa rin po yung iba-ibang mga components ng budget ng Office of the Vice President.
The next question comes from...
Sorry po, may follow-up lang po ako. Opo, 2 more, sorry. Ano po palang stand nyo po as APRO Chair sa calls to make public yung congressional proponents sa mga DPWH projects? We understand sa HGAB, nakalagay naman po yun yung congressional district, magkano yung allocation sa DPWH projects, pero walang particular kung sino yung proponent. Si Congressman Chanco po, nanawagan din na kahit yung pong mga party list proponent, i-publicized yung pong proponents, party list proponents sa DPWH projects. Ano pong stand nyo?
Actually po, sinusubukan ko po sigurong intindihin ano po yung proponent na tinutukoy. Kasi po kung makikita nyo po yung budget ng DPWH ngayon, lahat po yun ay nagmumula sa kanya-kanyang mga district engineering offices ng iba't ibang mga probinsya. So yun po, actually kung titignan nyo ang proponent nun, ang lalabas po nun, ang proponent nun ay ang district engineering office. So, yun po siguro yung aking katanungan doon na ano pong proponent yung tinutukoy nila, ano po yung hinahanap nila. Kasi dalawa lang naman po yung pwedeng, at tatlo po, yung pwedeng pagmulan ng isang proyekto na napapaloob sa NEP. Una po, nag-emanate siya from the District Engineering Office. Second, pwede pong galing sa regional office ng DPWH. O pangatlo, especially with regard to flagship programs, sa central office po siya ng DPWH nagbumula. So siguro yun po yung level na pwedeng maipakita ng DPWH in terms of the proponents for different projects. Either nag-emanate siya from the district engineer office, from the regional office, or the central office.
Okay. Last na lang po, sorry. Bukod po dun sa efforts to open the BICAM to public, ano po ang stand niyo po as House APRO Chair dun po sa expanding the minority representations po ng House sa BICAM?
Actually po, that's something that I am still taking a look at. Tinitignan po natin if there is a legal requirement in terms of the composition of the bicameral conference committee conferees. So pwede po naman nating tignan yan. Again, I recognize the very valuable inputs of the minority. As you can see po sa Budget Amendments Review Subcommittee, mismong si Minority Leader Marcelino Libanan ay parte ng BARC. At bukod sa kanya, meron pang dalawa, si Kong Alan T. at si Kong Stephen James Tan na parte po ng BARC. So I really recognize the invaluable inputs of the minority. So we can take a look at that po. Definitely happy to explore that. Thank you po.
Next, Dwight of Rappler.
Hello po, Congresswoman. Good
Hi,
morning.
Dwight.
Ma'am, clarify ko lang kanina dun sa explanation nyo sa unprogrammed appropriations. Yung 35 billion pesos, it was removed from SAGIP, but na-retain pa rin kasi yung amount na yon sa buong unprogrammed appropriations. Ano ba yung direct impact nun sa paglilipat to the government of the Philippines counterpart of foreign assisted projects? Kasi kanina sa pagkakasabi nyo, parang yung government counterpart, it was originally in SAGIP. Like, can we say ba that because naging new line item siya, hindi na siya magagamit to local flood control projects? Ano ba yung may safeguards bang na-introduce by making a new line item out of it? Kasi baka isipin ng mga tao na, ay parang ginawa, nandun pa rin yung pera, ginawa niyo lang ng new line item.
Thank you, Sir Dwight. That's something that I am really hoping to clarify. Ang dahilan po kung bakit binatak natin siya, kasi ang intention po talaga natin dun sa dating sagip ay tanggalin na yung infra mula doon. Kasi doon nga po nababatak yung flood control dati, kahit yung mga kalsada at mga tulay. So by taking out the FAPs from the first purpose, we are able to put in the safeguard there na definitively bawal na yung infrastructure projects dyan. So putting it out, putting the FAPs infrastructure out from the former SAGIP allows us to put in more stringent safeguards to ensure that it would no longer be abused. So, yun po. Kasi kung meron pang infra doon, hindi natin definitively matanggal yung infrastructure from the authorized purposes or authorized uses of purpose number 1, yung strengthening assistance to social programs. So, by taking it out, pwede nating lalong higpitan yung special purpose 1.
Ma'am, pero dito sa bagong line item, sorry, pardon my ignorance, ito ba pwede pa rin gamitin for flood control projects yun?
Let me check lang po sa kasalukuyan po kasi na tignan ko lang po yung breakdown ng kasi yung nakita ko po na mga malalaking proyekto ngayon doon, Metro Manila Rail, Metro Manila Subway, North-South Railway, sandali lang po, buksan ko lang po. May nakita din po kasi ako ng mga DSWD, diyan po buksan ko lang po. May detailed po ako na laman ng FAPS . I also want to be very specific with the answer, Sir Dwight. So let me just quickly pull this out. Ayun po. Yun po. Ang laman po nitong GOP ngayon. So the question po is whether there's a flood control project here. Kadamihan po kasi dito, sa DAR, meron pong tulay. Sa DOH, may nutrition project, so hindi po siya infra. Sa DPWH, nandito po bridges, connector bridge, bypass, Central Mindanao Standard Highway, San Juanico Bridge is here. Meron pong integrated disaster risk reduction and climate adaptation in low-lying areas in Pampanga Bay, but I don't think that's flood control po. And then accelerated water and sanitation project in selected areas. So definitely within DPWH po, sa 35 billion po, or even the whole 133 billion, wala pong flood control projects ngayon doon, even under FAPS. DSWD, e-vouchers po for food insecurity at saka Philippine Community Resilience Project. Sa DOTR po, as mentioned, Metro Manila Subway Project, North-South Commuter Railway, MRT Line 3 Rehab, MRT Line 4 Project, PNR Railway, LRT, Mindanao Railway Project, acquisition of 40 units of fast patrol crafts, Maritime Safety Capability Improvement Project, Cebu Bus Rapid Transit, and EDSA Greenways Project. So even across the board, ngayon po sa 133 billion under FAPS, wala pong flood control projects doon.
Last two questions na lang po. Yung una po, technical question lang po. Yung breakdown po ba may kita sa HGAB? Kasi I checked the unprogrammed appropriation section, hindi ko makita yung breakdown. Or is it in bawat agency ba? As of...
Opo. Actually po, wala. For unprogrammed appropriations po, wala. Wala po sa yung breakdown. But there is one. I'll check lang po with the DBM if we can share it to all. Kasi the only reason lang po why there's some sensitivity around it, there are development partners po kasi who do not want to publicize particular projects unless the negotiation phase is already finalized or the contracts would be finalized. So I just need to check with the DBM in terms of the sensitivities po. We also do not want to endanger certain contract negotiations for ODA projects, but to the extent possible po, we can share that.
Okay, last question na lang on a different matter. Kasi yung ibang mga kongresista, naglalabas na po ng kanilang kopya ng SAL-Ender, 3 from Akbayan, 3 from Makabayan, 1 from the Visayas. Kayo po ba ay, do you commit to also releasing a copy of your SAL-N anytime soon?
Actually po, I believe Speaker Boji D has he released a statement saying that they would revisit the guidelines for releasing SAL-Ns for all House members. So kung ano po yung direction ng House leadership on that, I will comply po.
Next,
Okay po. Thank
last
you.
question comes from Miss Vivian Gulia.
Hi, ma'am. Good afternoon. You did say that you are open to reducing the unprogrammed appropriations, proposed unprogrammed appropriations for 2026. Pero non-negotiable po ba sa inyo yung FAPS, na FAPS lang ang i-retain?
Kung titignan po kasi natin yung laman, bubuksan ko lang po ulit yung unprogrammed.
So hindi kayo papayag kung FAPS lang ang gusto ng Senate?
Medyo delikado lang po kasi halimbawa po yung Marawi Siege Victims Compensation Program, that is something that we need to retain. Yung isa po, yung sa strengthening assistance for social programs, tulad po ng binanggit ko, there have been a lot of instances in the past. For example po, yung ngayon, dito po sa ilalim, yung unprogrammed appropriations na naka-standby sa loob po na AIX. May mga pagkakataon po kasi talaga na kailangan nating mabatak yon. Ang sa totoo lang po, ang takot ko po, kung i-wipe out natin lahat ng laman ng unprogrammed appropriations, halimbawa po, ito pong mga nakapaloob sa strengthening assistance for social programs. If there comes a time that there's sana naman po sa awa ng Diyos hindi mangyari, pero kung magkaroon po ng malaking kalamidad, kung magkaroon po ng kailangang national health emergency na kailangan pong respondihan, kung hindi po natin bibigyan ng legal basis for funding these items, hindi po tayo makakabatak. Siguro po, bukod po sa ngayong taon na nakabatak po tayo ng 5 bilyong piso para po tugunan at rumisponde po doon sa mga naapektuhan ng bagyo at lindol sa Masbate, sa Cebu at Davao. Several instances in the past. In terms of COVID, actually po, unprogrammed appropriations yung unang binatakan ng gobyerno para agad-agad na matulungan yung mga health emergency practitioners, yung mga frontliners natin, dun po bumatak sa unprogrammed appropriation. So there, I've had this conversation with the DBM as to what could happen if we take out all of the items under unprogrammed appropriations. And they were saying that yes, that's a possibility, but we really lose our flexibility to respond to emergencies and unforeseen circumstances. Kasi po, sa ilalim na NDRRMF, meron pong nandun. Merong roughly 30 billion pesos, tama ba, na nasa calamity fund. Pero yung calamity fund kasi, dadaan yan sa OCD. Tapos may specific uses lang na pwedeng lagyan ng calamity fund. So yun lang po. We lose our flexibility. So ang take ko po doon, I am very much open to reducing unprogrammed appropriations, pero sana po we retain the purposes that are really needed.
So having said that, mga magkano po yung nakikita natin na possible na ma-retain from the 243 currently?
So out of the 243, very, very, very ballpark lang po. And it's a little bit difficult to commit at the moment because I think we need to have that ongoing conversation with the Senate. But definitely we have to retain the 133 billion under FAPS as showed earlier. Nandiyan po yung 133 billion. Kung hindi man yung kabuuan, parang hirap mag-commit on the values po because we need to take a look at that. We need to retain some for AFP modernization. Kung hindi man po yung buong 50 billion, pwede po tayong magtira doon. Kailangan po kasi talaga ng armed forces natin ng kadagdagang tulong para po sa mga kagamitan. Budgetary support to GOCCs, even if it's not that whole amount, we need to put some on standby. Ano pa ba yung pwede nating i-reduce? Marawi Siege Victims Compensation Program, sana matira po natin yan kasi that's been a long-standing program at ang tagal na po yan, hindi po natatapos yung pagbibigay po natin ng tulong ng compensation sa lahat po ng mga biktima ng Marawi Siege. And sana po yung insurance premium, kung hindi man sila komportable sa buong 2 billion, kailangan po sana nating magtira just for unforeseen circumstances. So, sorry po for not being able to provide the specific number, but those are the items that we can explore po.
Okay. Your comment dito sa sinabi ni Representative Tino na mayroon daw pong backdoor para mapondohan pa rin yung locally funded infrastructure project. Sabi niya mayroon daw 4.9 billion na natira sa capital outlay at mayroon daw pong provision sa unprogrammed appropriations na nagpapahintulot sa DBM na dagdagan ito ng kahit magkano mula sa iba pang mga pondo sa unprogrammed appropriations. He sought to get that provision removed daw po pero hindi na aprobahan.
Meron kasing dun po may dalawang I remember the special provision that Representative Tino was referring to. The DBM is authorized to one, approve specific disbursements, and second po to be able to reallocate. Kung ang takot po ng ating distinguished colleague would be may backdoor method for funding locally funded infrastructure projects, more specifically flood control projects, wala na po dito. If you would see the purposes that we've allowed, wala na pong pwedeng pasukan ng flood control eh. Sandali lang po. Ayan. Wala na pong pwedeng pasukan ng flood control projects dito. So, most definitely not locally funded. So even though DBM has the power to reallocate, if you would look at the safeguards that we've put in, wala na po dito na pwedeng pasukan ng locally funded flood control projects. Even roads, even bridges, hindi na po pwede. The only infrastructure projects allowed here would be especially under DPWH and DOTR, would be those pertaining to foreign assisted projects. So, yun po din yung binanggit po sa ating kasamahan nung plenary deliberations that we have put in the safeguards to make sure hindi po maaabuso at wala pong backdoor way na mapasukan po ito na locally funded projects.
Okay, Senate Finance Committee Chair Gatchalian is saying gusto niya limited yung discussion ng BICAM to the disagreeing provisions lang of the House and Senate versions of the GAB. Unlike before, parang yung AKAP sa BICAM ba yun na ilagay? Hindi raw magkakaroon ng reincarnation nitong AKAP. Your comment.
In terms of sagutin ko po muna yung sa AKAP, definitely wala pong maging reincarnation yung AKAP. That's an assurance that we can give on the part of the House. Yung pangalawa po, in terms of the what do you call this, the discussion, yun naman po, napag-usapan po namin yan ni Senator Gatchalian. We've had a meeting before just to align on what the priorities are, the transparency measures are, and the reforms are on the part of the House and the Senate. And yes, that is the goal, na yung disagreeing provisions po ng House at ng Senado, yung ating tatalakayin sa BICAM. Ayaw po natin, at alam ko yun din po yung gustong iwasan ng ating mga kasamahan sa Senado, ayaw po natin na magkaroon ng isang buong panibagong body na para bang gumawa ka ng pangatlong level na naayos na sa House, naayos na naamyendahan na sa Senado, tapos biglang may bago kang body na babaguhin mo lahat. Yun din po yung gusto nating iwasan sa parte ng Kamara. So definitely, we will focus on the disagreeing provisions between the House version and the Senate version of the General Appropriations Bill.
Thank
On
you
that
po.
note, we end the press com today. Maraming salamat, Kong Bika Sonsing. Maraming salamat sa inyong lahat.
Thank you very much po. I would like to thank our friends in the media. Thank you so much for all the hard work that you have put in all throughout the budget deliberations. Lahat po ng puyat, kasama po namin kayo. Maraming salamat po for giving us the platform to share important information to the Filipino people. And ang assurance po na maibibigay po natin sa ating mga kababayan, yung budget po natin para sa taong 2026, sisiguraduhin po natin na tunay na tumutugon sa mga pangangailangan ng ating mga kababayan at ng ating bansa. Malinis po ito, transparent po ito, at higit sa lahat, ang ating pong budget para sa taong 2026 ay budget na mapagkakatiwalaan ng ating mga kababayan. Maraming salamat po. Thank you. Thank you.